Hello everyone, my name is Idiotic Synergy and today I'm going to explain what is Necromunda. Necromunda is a massive crime-addled hive world where gangs and police constantly fight each other over territory while horrible cults lurk in the shadows while the ones in charge only worry about themselves. Sorry, I should explain what a hive world is. Well, you see, it's filled with thousands of hive cities. Surprising, I know. And a hive city is like a massive trifle. Bear with me here, this analogy will work. You see, the top layer is where all the nobles live, and then underneath that layer you've got the underhive, where all the gangs and regular civilians live. Then in the outskirts of these hive cities, you have shanty towns, which are often destroyed by storms or enforcers. So it's nothing like a trifle, because trifles don't have outskirts. Well done me for writing that in the script. Bollocks to it. Just imagine a London but spread across an entire galaxy. I think that would have made more sense. But, unlike London, Necromunda actually has a purpose to it, as it's responsible for being one of the largest weapon manufacturers that the Imperium has, as well as having a shit ton of different guard regiments because of all the people that live in Necromunda, and then they can send these guard regiments into all sorts of dangerous places. And one other thing that might make Necromunda quite important is that it is one of the main planets that the Imperial Fists use to recruit new folk into their chapter, whether they want to join or not. But if the Imperium uses this planet for weapons and recruits, then why does it have such a problem with cults and gangs? They are the workforce of Necromunda. That's right, every weapon, every bit of food item, every bit of ammunition, and any and all resources that the Imperium needs, it goes through the fucking gangs and cults. So that means Jimmy Jeanstealer probably made a lasgun. In fact, he probably made 5 more, but he's only giving the Imperium 3 and keeping 2 for himself and his mate. It's a mess, and obviously these gangs and cults kill each other. But where do these resources go? Well, you see, each section of Necromunda is controlled by a noble. And these nobles will allow the gangs, to live in these territories as long as they actually do the job they're supposed to, and not just kill each other. It's a shame then that the nobles like killing each other, because if a noble kills someone, then they get more control of Necromunda, and then they can kill another noble, and sometimes they will use gangs to kill other nobles or their own chosen gangs, so it turns into a constant state of violence. And there is one guy, just one, in charge of the entirety of Necromunda, and it's probably the most stressful job I've ever seen in 40k. The person that runs Necromunda is a guy called Lord Helmir. And being the ruler of Necromunda, he makes sure that it doesn't fall behind on the amount of weapons and guards that the Imperium needs, because if that starts happening, then guess what? He's dead, as well as the planet. Basically, he needs to make sure that the guilds are fine, and the guilds are very important to Necromunda, but we'll get to that in a second. He needs to make sure that the gang don't kill each other too much, so he sends in enforcers, which are a police force that he owns, to deal with any and all gangs getting too big for their boots. And he also deals with the nobles, where he basically sides with loyal nobles and then gets any traitorous nobles killed. He's a conniving git, effectively. Lord Helmir is a conniving, stressed out git, and I love him. This person's the best character in all of Necromunda, fight me. It's just such a stressful job, because if any of those factors fail, if weapons don't get out on time, if any part of Necromunda starts to fall behind, Necromunda will be killed. So he has to make sure that all of Necromunda is safe. So let's talk about the merchant guilds. Their job is to bring and trade supplies to each and every section of Necromunda, no matter where they are, so that the general population doesn't die off. However, it is very important to note that some of these guilds are cult-like, because like I said before, cults and gangs do the work in Necromunda. So if you thought that merchant guilds were really nice and happy and jolly, no. For example, the Corpse Grinder Guild. They turn dead bodies into corpse starch, which is food for the population. I know it's a bit dark, but then again it is Warhammer 40k, so what do you expect? The issue is that the corpse grinders themselves tend to go a bit mental, then they start eating each other, then they start killing everyone, and then they start indirectly worshipping corn. And it becomes a bit of a mess, to say the least. But they do provide food, so it's a swings and roundabouts situation. Another example of people in guilds being slightly mad is the folks in the Prometheum Guild. Basically, the Prometheum Guild, they're in charge of flames, so they use flames as heat, obviously, and as light. They are quite important in some of the darker areas of hive cities, where light and heat isn't readily available. However, folk in the Prometheum Guild will start seeing the Emperor's face inside the flames, and then they start going a bit overzealous with flamethrowers, and overprotective of said flames, and then they will start burning people to death. Because why not? Oh, I also should note that guilds will fight each other as well, just like gangs and nobles. And they will fight each other through direct means of shooting each other, and indirect means. An example of this would be the Water Guild, arguably the most important guild of all time, where they take recycled water and transport it all over Necromunda to every hive city to keep everyone hydrated. Until a guild or gang pisses them off, in which case they will leave that entire Underhive section alone, so that everyone in there can die of dehydration. And yeah, it's not great, because though they've killed off the gang or guild, they've also killed off all the civilians living there. But they are really bloody petty, which is the theme of many of these guilds. They're important, but they are extremely petty when they have to be. And look, I know that Necromunda has a lot of unique gangs and guilds and so much other stuff, but if I spent all day covering it here, I would be here until the end of the week. So I think this is a good place to end it, and it's a start of a series. I don't know what gang I'm going to cover next, or what guild I'm going to cover next, but rest assured, I'm looking forward to this series. And just because people might be interested in my opinion on the actual board game, I recommend it. It's incredibly janky and really unfair when you're new to it, but it is extremely fun because you get to really get in with the customization of the gang, and you can give all your enforcers or all your gang members really fun skills. I would highly recommend Headbutt, just because there's nothing funnier than getting a charge and headbutting someone to death. That is incredibly fun. Or, you could choose threat response, I guess, if you're playing sensibly. But choose headbutt. Choose headbutt, or give all your sergeants and captains threat response so then they can charge in. It's really funny. Play enforcers if you hate yourself. And with that, I think it's time to end the video there. I've been Idiotic Synergy. Thank you for listening to me. And I'll see you later. Remember to like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Like I said, see you later. I don't know how to end it.